Hi, it's Dr. Parikh, and now we're talking about how to choose a topic. Um, Choosing a topic for this paper is a balance between two pieces. On the one hand, you have a lot of flexibility and you might as well take advantage of it. You can write about something that's really interesting to you. On the other hand, it's easy to get kind of paralyzed by that and to feel like you have to come up with the perfect topic and then end up settling for something just because it's there and you're running out of time. So we'll talk a little bit. One way, when you're choosing a topic, if you have no idea what to do, just start Googling things. Let me see, I don't know what let me go to actual Google because I'm on Mozilla, which I only use for Blackboard, so I don't know what my search even is there. So I can search, for example, tattoos and psychology. And so Google, I'm not going to find anything I can actually use for my paper, but I can learn a little bit about, for example, Psychology Today. It's a magazine. It is not an academic journal, but it gives me some ideas of maybe how people think about this topic in psychology. And so I can read some things to get a sense of this topic and maybe whether it's interesting for me. Like I could look at grief because I'm really interested in memorial tattoos. So I see, and you can see I'm actually seeing the word memorial tattoos. It's also a great way to find what the buzzwords are. So I might then say memorial tattoos, psychology, if I can type. My cord for my headphones are running across my keyboard. And so now I'm getting academia.edu. This is probably actually a journal article being linked. And so you start to see it gets closer and closer to what I'm interested in. Oh, that's actually interesting. I might try to read that later. The other way, once you have a broad idea of what your interest is, you can go and you can look at databases. So I'm here under Jennings Library. You can look at databases. And then you can go to P through Q because you want to do Psycinfo down here. And you can go here and you can start typing in different words. So I can do tattoo. I don't need to put psychology here. It's looking in psychology journals, but I could do tattoo and grief and I can search. Let's see. And I want to at least start off with linked full text because that means I can actually read it right now. You have some time, you can get some other articles that need to be ordered through interlibrary loan, but you don't want too many. This is pretty recent, but I usually want to do like 2000, 2010 on, I can look at all of them, so I can limit the publication year. I want to do peer-reviewed journals. You can limit to different age groups. There's a lot of different limitations you can use. I don't want to include dissertations. That's not what I'm looking for here. I can click peer-reviewed. That's not going to guarantee that everything that comes through is going to be okay, but it helps me. And I get one whole entry. So it tells me maybe tattoos and grief are going to be hard to write a paper about because there's not enough information. So now I can go a little more broadly and look at tattoo and meaning. And that brings up a lot more things. So I'm more likely to write about meaning in general than to write about tattoos and grief. So maybe I'm not going to write exactly the paper I was hoping to write, but I'm going to get close. Another piece is you can really think about what's interesting to you. So I'm interested in tattoos because several years ago I saw one of the first times I watched an episode of one of those Inked shows. It showed a member, I think it was of Blink 182 or something like that, but a musician who was getting a memorial tattoo. And it showed kind of what the process was very meaningful for him. And so that sort of struck my interest. Another thing I might be interested in is how, so for example, I have type 2 diabetes, and so that's a big part of my life. And I was fairly recently diagnosed, so it's still kind of very much on my brain. Now, I can't just write about, I can't write about how my hormones are off, how my liver doesn't do quite what it's supposed to with the glucose. That's not psychology. But I could look and find how Psychology, how you can use behavior change models. What kinds of, how do you help people remember to take their medicine? How do you help people be motivated to make the kinds of changes that make type 2 diabetes manageable? And so you can take something that's interesting to you, a hobby. I also am interested in how knitting affects anxiety and stress and depression. I like how reading fiction helps develop empathy. So you can take whatever's interesting to you, whatever sports you enjoy, your hobbies, whatever it is, you probably find some way to connect it to psychology. Just start, if you're not sure, start with Google, maybe get some more keywords, but be willing to be flexible in the end. You need a good enough topic. This is not going to be your life's work. It's going to be a training wheels paper, and I look forward to reading it. So please make your topic interesting.